Welcome to Sports Nightly, hour number one with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Dolman, and it is July 16th, 2021. Here are some of today's sports headlines. At the U20 World Volleyball Championships, after going 1-2 in the second round of pool play, the United States is out of medal contention. But not done. Team USA and its trio of Husker newcomers, Allie Batenhorst, Lindsay Krause, and Lexi Rodriguez, resume play Saturday in consolation matches. Fifth place is the best possible finish for the USA in the 16-team tourney in Amsterdam. Another Team USA is shuffling its lineup. The men's basketball team announced yesterday that Bradley Beal will miss the Olympics due to COVID, and Kevin Love is pulled out because of a calf injury that plagued him last season. JaVale McGee and Keldon Johnson will replace them. No word on Jermaine Grant, who is in COVID protocols. The U.S. was supposed to take on Australia tonight, but that exhibition has been canceled. Australia did beat the USA women in a game that doesn't count earlier today, 70-67. Things are going really well for Team USA basketball. Quick NBA hits. Phoenix and Milwaukee resume their championship series with Game 5 tomorrow. Today it was announced that the league and the Players Association have agreed, surprisingly, that the playoffs play-in series will return again next season. In football, Tom Brady revealed that he played all of last season with a torn MCL in his left knee. Things did turn out okay, though. He also had surgery in February. How things will turn out for Richard Sherman remained to be seen. The free agent defensive back was arrested last week for trying to forcibly enter his in-laws' home. He is now facing 5 misdemeanor charges from the incident. In a statement today, Sherman said he is remorseful for his actions. He was scheduled to have a hearing earlier today. And Louis Oosthuizen has set a 36-hole record at the Open Championship at Royal St. George at 11 under. Yet he only has a 2-shot lead over Colin Morikawa with Jordan Spieth just 3 back. And those are some of today's headlines.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game 1. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game 1 of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman on the Huskers Radio Network.
And welcome, everyone, into this Friday edition of Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. The last day, Bill.
I know. I'm banned after this, apparently.
Yeah, Greg Sharpe returning from vacation. He'll be back in studio coming up on Monday. Bill, we appreciate you filling in for 2 weeks. It's been a fun 2 weeks.
It has been.
It kind of flew by, especially this week. We had a lot going on.
You know, as you were getting ready to start the show, I thought, this feels like a giant exhale. Like the last 2 weeks, which are supposed to be the desert wasteland of sports talk radio, early July, before everything gears up again. We've been pretty busy the last 2 weeks, and today just kind of feels like, just sit back and relax with a cool one on the patio, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was warned that, hey, it's going to be kind of tough to fill those 2 weeks, but it hasn't been at all with the, pushing back of the Major League Baseball draft. We got to talk about that for a couple days, and the big news with Trev Alberts on Wednesday. We've been able to talk some Olympics and have some lots of volleyball talk going on as well. So it hasn't been hard to fill these shows.
Well, other places don't have volleyball to talk about in the summertime like they do in Nebraska. So we can just talk John Cook, recruits, whatever the case might be. And
I love it. I mean, I've said that from the start. This is a big reason, that it was a big draw for me, the passion and dedication for volleyball, for women's sports here. I love, talking women's sports and giving them a platform, and people want to hear about Nebraska volleyball. It's incredible to me because it is not you just do not have that kind of level of excitement and passion for women's sports everywhere in the country.
Do we want to express any disappointment in Amy Williams for not coming out with an on-conference schedule?
Well,
while
I don't think that's
here,
on Amy Williams. I think that's
some other
probably on.
Well, we wanted her to come in, but we had Rhonda Revelle come in and talk about her great softball program, and John Cook did join us, and that was fun, and the U20s, everything.
Well, coming up on the show today, here in about 10 minutes or so, we've got Amy Gant, an NBC analyst for Olympic volleyball, coming up. So she's got all kinds of perspective on what to expect for Team USA going into the Tokyo Olympics. And about 7:20 coming up in the second hour, we've got Kelly Kroll. She's a broadcaster with Bally Sports South, who she covers the Braves extensively. She's the sideline reporter and dugout reporter for the Braves, and was able to talk with some internal folks there about their thoughts on drafting Spencer Schwellenbach. Has some great insight on that, and they're really, really pumped about that pick and getting him in the second round.
They just wanted a baseball player.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's going to be a pitcher, but they just wanted a baseball player, and they got one.
So we probably could have any other week talked baseball all week this week, but then we had to take a little break from that to talk a little athletic director with Trev Alberts. But yeah, going to go back, talk a little baseball tonight, because I think just hearing the perspective of what they kind of expect to do with Spencer, because it was a big question, last Monday, 5 days ago, we're talking about, okay, well, what are they going to do with him? Shortstop, pitcher. And I think they kind of have an idea of what they're hoping to do.
And we also had a chance to talk to Cade Povich,
yes,
who's got, high hopes for his stint with the Twins, who drafted him in the third round. And both of those guys, who were in that open highlight, by the way, I thought that was kind of unique. Yeah, very, very fitting for the week. Both of those guys went ahead of Kevin Kopps, the Arkansas pitcher, who won the Golden Spikes Award yesterday. But I thought that was kind of nice that they both went ahead of him by one in Cade Povich's case.
Yeah, we've had some all-star guests come on the show this week.
Yeah.
So, also announced today, Big Ten Media Days. The representatives for Nebraska football will be senior defensive lineman Ben Stilley, Deontay Williams, senior safety, and Austin Allen, junior tight end, who had a big week as well. He was on the search committee for bringing in the new AD.
Yeah, and we found out on a little video clip that's posted on Nebraska's Facebook page that apparently he's afraid of bats.
So, yes, well, that he's not, but, it was kind of a fun. He actually, so again, that was an all-day thing, and we were having, a little bit of fun with the guys. And when they came in, the two tight ends came in together, and I asked them who was most likely to be the most scared of bats. They actually said Adrian Martinez. So I told Adrian when he got there that the tight ends are talking some crap about him. But so then I think Cam Jurgens had his quarterbacks back and gave it back to the tight end. So yeah, gave it back to Austin Allen.
Let me ask you this then: you got to hang out with those guys on that shoot. What was your impression of the camaraderie, the chemistry, the vibe with this group now that they're in year 4 with Scott, but they've been around each other for a while?
I thought it was great. And, again, first time kind of really getting to be around them. And I was supposed to go back out there on Wednesday, but naturally kind of got busy around here. But, that day it was a lot of the offense. So it was, the wide receivers, the running backs, some of the O-line, tight ends. And so, great personalities too. They were loose. They were having fun. They seemed to be really pretty tight within their position groups. And, talking with Ryan Held and the competition that it's expected to take place with the running backs, and, it's wide open. And he wants a tremendous and is expecting tremendous competition come fall camp in 2 weeks, starting 2 weeks from today. But the way that they were all kind of interacting with each other, you can tell they're good buddies. And we talked last night about the offensive line and the way they've kind of been able to build some chemistry off the field as well. They're hanging out. It's a good mixture. There are a lot of older, experienced guys, but there are some new guys coming in from other, transfers or, junior college. But it seemed like there's a really good vibe. Camaraderie was really good, just having fun and loose. And talked about this as well, but just, being away from, the fans and having such a weird year last year and actually not even being able to go through a summer workouts.
Yeah.
They're appreciative of that, getting to do that again. And so there's and a lot of them have talked about that when I've asked them about it, that you kind of are reminded, because it can be a grind, right? But you're reminded when it's taken away how much you love it, and even you appreciate it, even these hard times, how much you appreciate getting to go through this. So, yeah, I think, and you forget because I was in the Big 12 and they had fans. It wasn't at full capacity, but they had fans. There's no fans. And so that was mentioned over and over and over again, getting to return to a full capacity stadium here inside Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, they're going to feel a bond with the fans that they, many of them have never experienced before, and they're going to understand what it's like to be a Nebraska football player, the responsibility that comes with being a Nebraska football player, and over time, the more they experience that, the more they do feel that responsibility and that kinship with it and being a part of it, and the once a Husker, always a Husker thing. But, over the last couple of years, it just seems like, there were factions, and maybe there wasn't that total buy-in bonding, and it was almost impossible last year, right, to come together as a cohesive unit. So I was wondering, just given the lightheartedness of that video, it was kind of fun to watch.
That's how it was.
Right.
That wasn't just, that's how it was all day long. And I laughed all day long, and there was so much personality, and they were all having fun and enjoying it. And again, they didn't really get to do a shoot like that a year ago. And for a lot of these guys going through it for the first time, and you think about some of these players this might be their third year, and they really haven't been able to, maybe they redshirted and didn't get to run out onto the field and actually play a big role in front of a big crowd, or, didn't get to participate in the photo shoot or the, big screen video or anything like that. And so there's just a level of excitement and appreciation, even for some of the older guys, that this might be their third year, and this is kind of their first true experience at getting, this big taste of it.
Yeah, there are veterans who really can't impart. You have no idea what it's like.
Yeah.
Because they really don't quite have an idea of what it is like and what it certainly can be like as the success comes in, and the fans around town are more and more excited. You're gonna play a big role in being the liaison to Nebraska football fans all over, because of all the work that you're going to be doing. So you will be somebody who's going to bring that personality to people, and I'm excited to see that.
Well, I cannot wait, and just the little bit of time getting to spend with this team, you can tell that they're going to be fun, and just the buy-in, and my first experience at it, and it seems like they are bought in, and the chemistry is there, and you have to prove it on the field, and you have to do all that. But right now, that's a team that seems to really enjoy being around each other, which is a big part of a successful football team as well.
And I hope they get feisty in practice.
Yes.
And maybe there are times
yeah.
when they don't like each other all that much
Yeah.
along the offensive and defensive line. Because if that happens, that might be a healthy thing too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you like bats?
No, but
encounter any
you
bats?
could hear the bat. That's why we were asking about them, because in the cave, you could hear the bats all down in the cave.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked, are you scared of bats? And then it kind of became a funny thing. And then it was like kind of took off a little bit. But yeah, you could, if you were in certain areas of that cave, you could hear the bats squealing or whatever noise they make.
Not
I
a big
don't
fan.
know.
Not a big fan here.
Yeah. No, I'm not either. But if they flew up on me, I would squeal and be scared too. But yeah.
You got to get the story though.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got to take our first break, but hit us up on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, 402-413-2400, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Up next, Amy Gant with NBC Sports covering Olympic volleyball. Going to give us her perspective on Team USA going into Tokyo. Keep it here on Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Ford. Take advantage of our current offers and vast inventory selection with features you want at a smart price. Schedule a test drive today or shop online with our streamlined sales process. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and find your next vehicle at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is caught in the jagged jaws of ransomware attacks and phishing scams. Help! Wait! It's Marco's Network Security Solutions to the rescue with life-saving ways to detect hungry cybervillains and stop them cold in their tracks. With Marco's Network Security Solutions, our IT hero lives to surf another day. For more successful network security adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Dolman. So good to have you with us, and so excited for the Olympics to come. And right in the first week, it will be indoor volleyball, and the United States women go into the tournament as the #1 ranked team in the world after an excellent FIVB season. Jordan Larson, of course, leads the way, and there are a couple of other Huskers on the squad as well. And we are pleased to be joined by the volleyball analyst who will be calling the Olympics alongside Kenny Albert beginning next week. Amy Gant is joining us. And Amy played at BYU, has been working television for a long time, has been a friend of mine for a long time. I'm so excited for her opportunity to work the Olympics, and Amy's joining us. Amy, how are you feeling as you get ready for your first Olympics assignment?
Oh, hi guys. Happy to be here. I'm super excited, Bill. I'm really excited. I think there's 3 actual broadcast teams working both indoor and beach volleyball. So I think that just speaks to just the fan enjoyment of that sport in general.
Well, Amy, as you're kind of diving in and doing your research, what are the chances of Team USA to be on top of the gold medal at the end of this thing, or top of the podium with the gold medal?
I think it's really exciting. I think what's fantastic about, in general, I think it benefits the fans in that there's going to be no bad matches. But they're top to bottom. There are so many fantastic teams just throughout the world. And for both the men's and the women's, they kind of got the tougher pool to get out of there in Tokyo. But because of that, I think that just helps them ensure that they are so good night in and night out to come out on top. And for the women, I think what's so great about them is that they are the deepest team you can imagine. I think it was so hard for those coaches to choose just 12 players to go to the Olympics because they could outfit, 1 to 30 players that could start on any number of any national teams. And so you've got players that are going, these 12, that are just incredible top to bottom. And so if they ever have to, change their look or sub in, you're not going to miss a beat. It's just going to be this high-level volleyball every single moment on the floor.
Talking with Amy Gant, NBC volleyball analyst, who will be calling the Olympics next week. Of course, amongst that team of 12, there are 3 former Nebraska Cornhuskers who are on the roster, Jordan Larson, Kelsey Robinson, and Justine Wong-Arantes. Before we talk about Kelsey and Justine, Jordan Larson is now in her mid-30s. She's been around for a while. This is her 3rd Olympics. How important was it for them to put her on this team, given the fact that there are so many great young players in the United States?
I don't think there was any, as far as the benefit of having Jordan on the team from a physical standpoint, even though she's 34, she has not dropped off at all. She is a player that has so much experience and is so smart on the floor. She knows exactly the kind of swing that every single play requires. She's just a very, very smart player. Take that and then add the fact that she's an incredible leader. And you talked, I think you talked with her about how important culture is. And when you are in the Olympics, obviously that team dynamic is so important. There's been years that the team has brought different players on just because they were that fantastic teammate. They may not have even stepped on the floor, but the fact that you have Jordan Larson, who is that incredible player, but is also an incredible team leader and example of the culture that USA Volleyball wants to continue is just, I think, fantastic. And it shows, she's been in this program for a long time. And I think what's difficult for the Olympics, you get kind of getting that continuity, and you kind of think of things in terms of 4 years, right? Every quad, how is it going to look? And it's really hard not to have to just reset and start over every 4 years. And as we've seen since Jordan Larson's been there, and, they've really done a good job building this culture and this incredible high level of volleyball. And that kind of shows in the fact that they've got such depth, top to bottom, and even looking coming into the program. And I think that speaks a lot to Jordan and kind of the example that she's been in that high level, continually being that great example for USA Volleyball.
And not just Jordan, but, there's 3 Huskers on Team USA for this year's Olympic team. What does that say about Nebraska volleyball and the program that's been built here?
I think it's incredible. Obviously Kelsey Robinson, so good. I think the big thing with international players is that all these coaches are saying, if you want to succeed on the international level, you have to do everything. You can't just be a big hitter who can't pass. And, Kelsey's a great example in that she could be a libero also. She was for the national team. And so she's a player that can come in and has this great ball control. She is so good, such a dynamic player. So regardless of when she steps on the floor, she's going to make an impact. And then Justine, obviously, I've been so impressed watching her this past year, just how solid she's been. The libero, you want them to be a good passer all the time. And that's really difficult to do. And she has just been so consistent. I think also, we've got these great indoor players, but you've got one of the top beach players in the world in Sarah Pavin. She's for Canada, obviously, but she's a Nebraska player too. So just an incredible amount of volleyball skill that not only succeeded collegiately, but you could see it's the best in the entire world, both in beach and in indoor.
We're talking with Amy Gant from NBC Sports. Amy, it was interesting in our conversation with Jordan earlier this week that she felt as though the postponement of the games in 2020 to 2021 may have benefited that team in terms of being able to come together with a little bit more time together. She said, I think it was like 2 years that they had not seen each other face to face, but that time away has helped them, that they are legitimately a gold medal favorite. Do you view that in the same way?
Oh, I think so, definitely. Obviously, the skill has always been there, but the fact that they were away, with COVID and being apart, it took a lot of work for them to really stay together as a team and to build on that. They had a wonderful I think what's been hard about this is, we talked earlier, how many good players there are and how many good players are not going to be going to Tokyo. And I think the team has done such an incredible job, including everybody. When they went to VNL, the big tournament just this past month with all the other nations, only 18 could go, but they still have been talking about everyone at home as being part of the team. I think they called it, 23 strong. So we have all these players on the team, regardless of where they are in their role, they are contributing to this team. If they're not the sixth that are on the floor at the time, it doesn't matter. It's a team, and it's this huge environment that has been carefully cultivated and created. And I'm, like you said, they didn't see each other for 2 years. So how amazing that they could build on that culture and kind of really nail that down, even with not even seeing each other and being in the same arena for a long period of time.
And not the only Husker, Tyler Hildebrand is kind of the head coach for beach volleyball as well. And he kind of explained it to me kind of like the general manager kind of oversees the teams and whatnot. And what does he mean to the beach volleyball program for Team USA?
Well, Tyler's been fantastic. He really is just a really special coach. I think he has an ability to see where the beach program needs to be, but also has the ability to connect with players and coaches. And obviously the beach game in general is kind of growing, and USA is trying to figure out how do we support these teams with as many resources as we can, but also give them that autonomy that the beach game has grown to really appreciate. And I think Tyler has navigated that really, really well. He obviously knows the game very well, but his interpersonal skills are great. And all four teams that are going to Tokyo just can't say enough good things about what he's doing. And they're super sad to have him step away, but Nebraska obviously is for collegiately they're gaining him on a incredible level to bring to this already incredible program.
It's hard to talk about her because she's not going to be there, but what will it be like to not see Carrie Walsh-Jennings competing for Team USA at the Olympics?
Yeah, I know. It doesn't seem like the Olympics, does it, if you don't have Carrie there? That I think that kind of speaks to where the game is going, and Carrie just is the face of beach volleyball. I mean, you look over the past few, even decades, and she just has been that player that's been consistently hungry and maintained that level. It's one thing to kind of peak and have a good match, but how impressive for her to, over the course of her entire career, to just be at the top of her game. And the parity that has really come about over the past few years within the beach community has been crazy. I mean, if you're watching beach volleyball maybe 10, 15 years ago, you're going to just know that it's going to be USA, Brazil, USA, Brazil. But the Europeans, all of those European nations have really raised their game. And going into this Olympics, I think on the men's side, there could be 20 teams that not even surprised if they medal. On the women's side, it's a little more clear who the favorites are, but still it kind of comes down to just how you perform in that given moment. And it's pretty exciting to see the game just expand and have so many good teams.
Have you got a sense at all from the athletes about their feeling not having fans that will be there cheering in the stands?
I think obviously it's a disappointment, but it kind of is just one more thing, right? That's kind of what COVID has been for everyone, is how do we function to our best ability and any time that they could step on the floor, it was kind of a gift. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from not being able to play together is the love of the game and why they were out there. It was kind of like, oh, it's so fantastic to just be able to play. And so while it's going to be super sad, I think, to not have fans in the stand, the players, coaches, everybody is like, hey, we still have our goals and what we came here to do. I think NBC is really trying to work hard to kind of showcase a lot of different families cheering at home, because you know how fun that is to watch those families. Sometimes they're the best TV is the fans. And so they're really trying to incorporate that. But I think for the players, they've just got their goals and they've overcome so much over the past 2 years, sometimes even 5 years, just to get to this point. And so it's just kind of one more thing to try to deal with.
We do know where fans will be, and we do know that they will be packing the Bob Devaney Sports Center again when the Huskers take to the floor this season. And I called Amy yesterday, and I informed her that of the 8,000 tickets available for the scrimmage, 5,500 had been sold in 5 hours. Now, I know you've been covering volleyball a long time. You played at a high level at BYU, but what was your impression when I told you that? And just overall, what do you think of Nebraska volleyball from your vantage point?
I think that regardless if you go to Nebraska, right, every team in the country and all these coaches want to give their athletes the opportunity to play in that environment, because it's such a unique and supportive and knowledgeable fan base. And just to have that opportunity, I think anyone who even comes in to play Nebraska, and granted most of them lose, but still they have that opportunity to play in front of that incredible crowd and to have that exposure and to feel that energy. And I think it's obviously a really special place.
Last thing I kind of got for you is just if, we're fans and we're watching USA volleyball and we're cheering for them to win a gold medal, what's the key? What do they need to do? Team USA will win a gold if they do blank.
On the women's side, I think what makes USA women fantastic is that they are just solid all the way around. And they're really, really good when they're passing the ball well. If they are passing the ball well, they can't be stopped because they just have so many good hitters and everyone has the ability to attack on the floor. And so I think that's kind of critical for them. You have a few other teams that have these huge, opposite hitters that can kill the ball regardless of where the pass is. And while the U.S. for sure has incredible opposites, they have great middles, they have great outsides. And so USA is going to be good when they are in system and when they have that pass dialed in. And I think with their ball control, with coming off of ENL, a win there, the culture on the floor, I'm really excited to watch them perform. I think they're going to come in and really put on a show.
Well, you've got a great assignment in calling Olympic volleyball. Everybody here is excited about it because of the Husker influence that's on that team. This is Amy's first Olympic gig, and she's going to be working. I saw the roster. You're going to be working with Kenny Albert, who calls NFL football and just got done calling the Stanley Cup Finals. Are you having to give him a volleyball tutorial as you go into your first Olympics?
You know what? He's going to be so great. I'm really excited to work with him. I think he's done a lot of research on volleyball, and so he's going to be ready. But we're going to be I think that's what's kind of fun about volleyball is because we are just, one pair of three. And so we're going to be in Connecticut, but then you have two pairs in Tokyo as well. So you've got Chris and Paul who are going to be doing indoor, and then Chris and Paul are doing play-by-play, and then everyone else. And so I think you're going to get so much volleyball regardless of where it's coming from. It's going to be great if you're a fan.
Other than volleyball, what sport are you looking most forward to checking out?
I love anything that has drama, right? And so I think I'm probably like anyone else where it's like, oh, the swimming or track or gymnastics and all of those incredibly high pressure situations that I, as a player, could never handle. I remember swimming when I was younger, and I would just like get nauseous as I would get ready to head to the blocks. And so I just think how fun to watch just those high drama situations. And I think swimming, Rowdy Gaines is just so fun to listen to. He's such a dynamic analyst. He's great.
Well, Amy, that's all well put, but I'm sorry, that is the incorrect answer. The correct answer was, what is archery? I'm looking forward to seeing you in Stanford. You're going to be great, and I'm excited you have the assignment, and people here in Nebraska will be tuning in very intently to Amy Gant and Kenny Albert and the rest of the NBC team calling volleyball beginning, I guess, next week in Tokyo. Yeah. Amy, thank you.
Should be fun. Thanks so much.
Amy.
All right, we're going to take a time out here on Sports Nightly. Much more to come, including your calls, 402-413-2400, or shoot us a text if you want to talk some volleyball like we do here in Nebraska.
Husker fans, stay up to date with the most current and latest news by following the Big Red on Facebook and Twitter. These social media homes provide the fastest daily updates on everything surrounding NU athletics, including game results, ticket promotions, and Husker prizes. Log on to also follow several sports-specific pages and Husker head coaches. Become a fan today at facebook.com/Huskers and twitter.com/Huskers to join and interact with thousands of Husker fans around the world. Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
And welcome back to this Friday edition of Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody, and Sports Nightly brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. And Bill, we've talked about it. You've been here for 2 weeks filling in, but last night with us, you're about to go call some Olympics. We just talked some Olympics, and you mentioned archery. You're doing some race walking.
Yep.
That's exciting.
Sure enough, absolutely. It's going to be exciting. It is going to be unique.
Race walking, if you're listening like me and you're thinking race walking, it's the power walking. If you're like, you don't call it that. You get in trouble if you call it that, but if you're thinking like, if you don't know what that means, what's race walking? It's where
you're late for your flight is what you really are. You know? I think we've all seen race walking at various airports, or you're late for class or something like that on campus. On campus you run.
But it's very strategic. There's rules. You have to have 2 feet on the ground.
2 feet on the ground. You've got to straighten a leg, and and there are judges who are watching you try to get to your flight. They're trying to make sure that your feet are on the ground and your legs are straightened. And if you don't, they flash like a yellow paddle right in front of you, and that means they busted you. And I think it's 3 warnings, because the races are 20K, so you got to have a little time to get back, in rhythm, or 50K for the men. You get a red paddle, and you're out. And in 2000 at the Sydney Olympics, there was an Australian in the lead, meters away from the finish line and the gold medal, busted.
Well, she cheated to get there.
Yeah,
so
you keep those feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. But she got disqualified.
I mean, do you have your call down for
No, not quite yet. You've been giving me a lot of advice during the day. I know that once you found out I was calling it. But I also have modern pentathlon, which is also actually when they put the Olympics back together in 1896. The guy who said, let's do this again, one of the first things he did was implement what is called the modern pentathlon, disciplines of fencing, equestrian, swimming, and they've combined the running and shooting portions of it, which are all homages to methods of war back in the day. So you had horses, and you ran, and you shot, and you fenced, I guess, and so those 5 disciplines are one event called the modern pentathlon, and I will have some of those events.
I like how you have your descriptions of some of these sports. Like you were talking about judo, and it was like 2 kids fighting for the remote in the living room.
2 kids in bathrobes fighting for the remote.
And the race walking is missing your late to your flight. Like,
I'm pretty sure, though, when you go on the air, that's probably not part of the description of the discipline.
You probably shouldn't describe it like that.
Yeah.
But no, you do have Dave Ellis and company to thank for even being able to get to call these
we have
Olympics.
COVID testing that we need to do before we can work at NBC, and we will be monitored every single day, but needed a test, and the test has to be taken tomorrow. Well, I'll be driving back to Colorado all day tomorrow, and testing facilities will be closed. So I just happened to be looking it up. Dave Ellis came in the studio and called Nuwami, and she came in and said, I have an extra. So somehow tomorrow I'm going to try to put together my own little COVID test. Yes.
Was Dave coming in to monitor how the progress is going on the new facility over there?
Making sure the kitchen's going in the right place?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's if you haven't seen his plans, I think they're changing, and he's developing them, and it's going to be top notch, but it's going to be incredible.
What I've gotten a kick out of the last 2 weeks that I've been here, and we have a view of the construction just to the northeast, right across the concourse. And the people who come up, they may think that this is a Husker shop, which it is not. But the people who actually come up to take a look at how things are coming with the construction, which is just in its infancy, and it's going to take 2 more years, but people want to see how the new building's coming along, and I find that fascinating.
I've been here like 5 weeks. I think the progress is coming along pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
it's fascinating.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
No, but going back to our conversation with Amy and just her comments on Jordan and about how, sometimes you just put a leader on the team to help with the, camaraderie or, so that they know the culture, but her physical ability is just as important at, 34 or whatever, that she hasn't missed a beat in that regard, and it's both areas when it comes to Jordan that she's bringing to this team.
What you're kind of describing is why Team USA, Greg Popovich, put Kevin Love on the men's basketball team, was for his Olympic experience, his presence.
Except Kevin Love's out.
And he's out now, right, because he's physically broken down. If the United States wins a gold medal in Tokyo, it will be because of Jordan Larson, not because she was on the team, but because she is that leader on the floor. She is the person that Coach Kilroy trusts very much. And, I think that she will have a very significant role. And I don't know NBC's production plans, but I would bet that there will be a significant amount of time devoted to Jordan Larson, who she is. They'll probably talk about Hupper and might get it wrong, but I would bet that she's one of the featured athletes that NBC has prominent plans for.
I was trying to look. I don't think that USA has won a gold in women's volleyball.
No, it's always been Brazil and China and the Soviet Union and Brazil and China and Cuba. Cuba, I think, won 3 gold medals. The United States has won 2 or 3 silvers and a couple of bronze, and Jordan Larson has won a bronze. She's won a silver.
Yep.
Time to win the gold. But I think it will. If they win it all, it will be because of her. Her presence will be major, and her production will be critical. Her experience, everything.
Well, I also think that, what they're talking about the depth of Team USA and that they had, 30 people they could have put, on this team, also speaks to the growth of the sport in recent years, especially now they haven't been a gold medal contender. Now here they are, one of the favorites.
Right. Yeah. And the sport of volleyball has certainly grown, and I think due in large part to the success Nebraska's had. But it used to be a California sport. Everybody kind of knows that. And it was California, and then there was some success in Texas, and then Nebraska. What? And then, Kathy Noth played for the U.S. national team. I think Kathy played in an Olympics or may have been on the 80 team that didn't get to go. Lori Endicott was the Team USA setter for at least one Olympic cycle. And I remember how proud Nebraskans were. And it was kind of like, oh, my gosh, we have an Olympian? Lori Endicott is playing for the United States in the Olympics. I mean, that was a really, really big deal. And now it's kind of like, well, yeah, who's the next Husker or Huskers up? And I think Nebraska fans were probably relieved that Jordan was going to get a chance to win a gold medal, and then to see Kelsey and Justine and know that Nebraska is well represented.
And it's going to continue to be so. There are players on this team I know that are going to be in the running for the next Olympic team and the next Olympic team. Like that plays into recruiting, because what do you want to do after, a lot of these athletes that come in after they play college volleyball, they want to go play for Team USA or play professionally. Well, this is the spot to get you set up for that, obviously. I mean,
yeah, there are professional leagues, but it does not have the same experience that you have at Nebraska, and it still remains to be that the biggest thing in the sport is to win the Olympic gold medal. You can go overseas and play basketball professionally, men's and women's now, and you can make a lot of money. There's no question about it. But is the medal the big thing in those sports? Probably not. It's to get back to the league. Volleyball, winning the gold is it.
And this Nebraska program sets you up to have a good chance to do that. All right, we got to step aside for one final break here in hour number 1, but we're back to wrap up this first hour of Sports Nightly next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card.
Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
I'm not hearing you. Welcome back to this final segment here on hour number one of
You're on.
Sports. I'm on. Q. Andrew, I was not hearing him in my ear, so I didn't know. Anyways, fun hour there talking lots of Olympics, and we got a quick segment here, but I did want to get your thoughts on Bryson DeChambeau and not liking his driver at the Open.
You know, I don't think you're supposed to blame your equipment ever, but certainly don't do it when your representative of your equipment is with earshot. And I think he's even worked for him in the past and caddied for him at Cobra, you know? And the guy said, I don't have his name in front of me, but he said, you know, Bryson has never, ever been happy. And I'm amazed at the headlines that he and Brooks Koepka get. And I think they're tremendous golfers, and I enjoy watching them play. But I just don't find either one of them interesting and don't care about their duel, and I don't care about DeChambeau's duel with his driver. It's just not interesting.
He said his driver sucks, and then they said it's like an 8-year-old throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
Is like what it's like dealing with him.
Yeah.
So
and he said, yeah, he's never, ever been happy. But, yeah, don't blame your equipment, especially when, you know, those guys have caddied for you and are giving you everything to your specifications.
yeah, it's like an 8-year-old that gets mad at you. They might fly off the handle and say, I hate you, but then you go, whoa, no, you don't. So, yeah, I mean, the drama there, it's kind of, because golf is not really known to have a lot of drama, right? So it's kind of been interesting to follow between Brooks Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau. But, yeah, it's something every week, and it's always those two guys.
But it seems like they're forcing it, you know? It's not like... you know, Phil's got a great personality. Tiger wasn't exactly the most, you know, charismatic guy either, but compared to those two, Tiger is like Phil, you know? But, yeah, they're forcing that rivalry. I think they're trying to build something in the game.
But, like, screaming, this driver sucks, I don't think that was, like, planned. I don't think he planned to say that.
I thought he said it in the media. I thought it was after the round when he was, you know, it was like, and then he saw I was just frustrated.
He said, this driver sucks. Like, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's it was kind of funny for a while, made it but now I'm with you. I'm kind of over it.
Well, I think you might have enough money that maybe you can go out and buy your own. If you're not happy with Cobra's making for you by your specs.
Well, they're going to all this great deal of effort to design it because he swings it too hard and too fast. So they have to, you know, design clubs specifically for him. So they're, you know, having to do all this. I don't know. There was some, you know, technical jargon that they were saying that they have to go through to try to get it to work because of how hard he swings and fast he swings and the club head and all that. So all this great deal of effort that they're going into to make him this driver, and he's still mad about it. So maybe don't swing. Maybe stay off the weights, bro.
Or you can borrow my Sam Snead steel shaft that I bought at Sears in 1978. I still have it in a bag somewhere in the garage. If you want to give it a whack, go ahead.
You golf much?
I like to golf. I don't get a chance to golf all that much. But
you keep telling me that the golf courses here are really nice. And my dad, when he comes up, I got to get him out to a couple.
The golf in Nebraska, I think, is the courses are great. They take a lot of pride in them. They're economical. I mean, when I lived in Houston, a course in Lincoln would be $100 or more. Here, no.
I can't wait to check him out with my dad when he comes up.
You'll love it.
He'll be here for every football game, and we'll have to hit up a golf course every time. Okay, that wraps up hour number one here on Sports Nightly. Phone lines are open, 402-413-2400, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse.
To support your Huskers than becoming a season ticket holder. And a limited number of Nebraska football season tickets are on sale now. Secure your seat in Memorial Stadium for head coach Scott Frost's fourth season at the helm as the Huskers play host to Buffalo, Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, and more. Now is your chance to become part of the storied tradition that is Husker football. To purchase season tickets, call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Buick GMC and find your next vehicle. Our knowledgeable sales team is eager to help you find a vehicle. Plus, get you on the road faster with our streamlined sales and buying process that you can start online. New Buick and GMC models with the features you want at a smart price. Visit our indoor showroom or shop online anytime at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Experience the difference and shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Welcome to hour number 2 of Sports Nightly with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Dolman. It is July 16th, 2021, and here are some of today's sports headlines. At the U20 World Volleyball Championships, after going 1-2 in the second round of pool play, the United States is out of medal contention, but not done. Team USA and its trio of Husker newcomers, Allie Batenhorst, Lindsey Krause, and Lexi Rodriguez, resume play Saturday in consolation matches. Fifth place is the best possible finish in the 16-team tournament in Amsterdam. Another Team USA is shuffling its lineup. The men's basketball team announced yesterday that Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards will miss the Olympics due to COVID, and Kevin Love has pulled out because of a calf injury that he says plagued him all of last season. JaVale McGee and Keldon Johnson will replace them. No word on Jermani Grant, who is in COVID protocols. The United States was supposed to take on Australia tonight in an exhibition. That game has been canceled. Australia did beat the USA women in a game that doesn't count. That was earlier today, 70-67. Quick NBA hits. Phoenix and Milwaukee resume their championship series with Game 5 tomorrow. Today it was announced that the league and the Players Association have surprisingly agreed to have the playoffs play-in series return next season. Isn't that what the regular season is all about? Football, Tom Brady revealed that he played all of last season with the torn MCL in his left knee, yet things turned out pretty good for Tampa. The Super Bowl winning quarterback had surgery in February and is good to go at 43, 44, 45, somewhere in there. How things will turn out for Richard Sherman remain to be seen. The free agent defensive back was arrested last week trying to forcibly enter his in-laws' home. He is now facing 5 misdemeanor charges from the incident. They had a hearing today in Seattle. And Louis Oosthuizen has a 36-hole record at the Open Championship at Royal St. George. He's 11 under, apparently pleased with his driver. Still, he only has a 2-shot lead over Colin Morikawa, with Jordan Spieth 3 shots back. And those are some headlines.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game 1. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game 1 of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome into hour number 2, our final hour of the week on this Friday edition of Sports Nightly. The last hour with Bill.
I know. And then the band begins.
Oh, there's crying in the background. It is up on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, 402-413-2400, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. So there was yesterday, kind of floating around on my Twitter, kind of popped up a few times, this list that was put together by 24/7 Sports of college football's most hostile environments, the top 10. So I want to see if you can get a list of who you think would be in the top 10.
Who I think would be in the top 10.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say Alabama's probably in there because I'm sure they probably put Alabama on every list that's there.
Alabama actually was not on the list.
Oh, 2 white collar for the Blue Bloods, all right? So no Alabama. Washington, because they think that the sound is so loud with the stadium little roofs and the sound coming off the water.
No Washington either.
Well, that's because we silenced them in 1997, and it had never been the same when Scott Frost and company ran roughshod on them when we were supposed to lose.
We talked about this. You were telling a fun story about that.
Well, they were telling us that there's no chance that Nebraska is going to beat Washington in 97. It was like the second game of the year. And I remember Tony Barnhart, who wrote for the Atlanta paper and was on game day on ESPN, and they're talking about Nebraska winning at Washington. No way. Scott Frost winning a big game. Don't think so. Never forget that. Don't think so. And they just sliced and diced and overpowered and overran, and just it was it's like 27-14, and it wasn't even that close. It was over in the first quarter, and it was quiet.
So Washington hasn't been hostile since
1997.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got a couple more guesses.
All right,
I'll give you 2 more guesses.
Well, okay, certainly not Colorado, so I'm going to take that one out
No.
right off the bat.
Think Big
Hostile
Ten.
crowds, probably Ohio State.
Ohio State is on there. One of 3.
Not Rutgers. One of 3 Big Ten schools on the Big Ten schools?
Yeah.
Big House?
Penn State is on there.
Penn State, that's Big House would be Michigan. But
Yeah, no, Michigan is not on there. Penn State is on there.
I can see that. You know,
Yeah.
when they got it going on and they've got their whiteouts, yeah, that's
And
pretty good place.
Wisconsin.
Well, that's just because they're enamored with the jump around thing after the third quarter.
So those are the 3 Big Ten. And then LSU was number 1.
That can be a raucous place to play. I've actually done a game there and was not greeted warmly as I was making my way to the stadium, and I wasn't even playing. And they're quite young when they start them too, by the way. Yes,
Death Valley, always crazy. So Penn State 2, 3 was Texas A&M, 12th man.
Okay, again, is it hostile or is it just kind of a good gimmick? Yeah, okay. It can be loud.
I've been down to College Station.
Okay.
It's loud.
When the stadium sways, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Florida was 4, Ohio State 5, 6 was Clemson, 7 Georgia, 8 Oregon, 9 Wisconsin, and 10, I was shocked, I just came from there, Oklahoma. And I can tell you, Oklahoma, I mean, they win there. I mean, at home, they had the win streak going for a while. They've lost a couple here the last few years, but it's not loud. It's not loud by any means.
They fill it, but yeah, I would not put that there. I'd probably equate Oklahoma and Alabama a little bit. Yeah, you have a lot of people there, but
and like I said, this is, I don't know how they came up with this list, but it was kind of a lot of people were tweeting about it. And of course, mad that their school wasn't on it or mad about a certain school that was on it or whatever, it was kind of debating. But I just thought it was kind of interesting that, well, first of all, that Nebraska will be going to Oklahoma. And I didn't find that to be, I don't know if I would consider that to be one of the most hostile environments, because I mean, I've been to Ohio State, definitely a hostile environment, Texas A&M, but Tennessee, I went to Tennessee when Oklahoma played, and you couldn't have a conversation on the sidelines. To me, that's like hostile when they're, I don't know if hostile means loud or if hostile means rude, Well,
then you got to put Mississippi State up there.
Right?
If it's the latter. I mean, clearly.
I mean, are you hateful? Is it?
Well, if that's the case, then Nebraska's never going to make the list, because if you try to book a hotel and you're the opposing team and all the rooms are booked, Nebraska fans would say, well, why don't you just have your team come over and stay at our house and you can have the remote and the password to the internet, at our place.
Yeah. So I don't know, and I don't know how they accumulated this list, but I could definitely see LSU being number 1.
Oh yeah.
It's
boisterous.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Some of these schools that are on this list definitely worthy of being on the list, but
I will say this: if Nebraska's got it going on, and I've been around when they've had it going on, and been at some home games, and they love to treat you well and be respectful, and they love that whole applaud for the opponent when they leave the field kind of thing. But if you're not exactly a cordial guest, they can turn on you pretty quickly. And it can be a pretty tough place to play. And I think Colorado found that out a few times. I remember one of the 94 game against Colorado when it was 1 versus 2 or 2 versus 3. And it was the first year of the tunnel walk and Husker Vision. And they were supposed to beat us, even though we were right next to each other in the polls. Rashawn Salam and Cordell Stewart and Michael Westbrook and company. And they came out on the field first. And they're stomping on the end. And they're telling us we're number 1, not even horns down. It was the Barry Switzer salute, right? And all of a sudden, they're stomping on the end and doing that to the crowd. And then the stars come up for the tunnel walk. And the music started playing. And Tommy Frazier and Mike Minter weren't playing, but they were walking side by side down the tunnel with Coach Osborne. And I was up at the very top of the press box, and I looked down on the field, and the Colorado players stopped bouncing up and down on the end, and they started watching the big screen. And they're watching the players come down. The crowd goes crazy. And Bill McCartney even said that we may have lost that game before it started because they got enamored with the fans and the tunnel walk.
But you were saying, I mean, look, okay, football list aside, but you were saying that Devanna you'd put up there with Fog Island with...
the Coliseum, before they moved to Devaney.
Okay.
With 4,500, maybe 5,000 people, and when the fire marshal wasn't looking, maybe 6. The Coliseum for Nebraska volleyball, I put up there with Fog Allen Fieldhouse and Cameron Indoor Stadium as the most difficult places to play. And anybody who doubts me, I'm right. But go watch on YouTube the 1996 Nebraska-Penn State Regional Volleyball Final when Nebraska went to the Final Four with a 2018 Game 5 win coming from 11-3 or 4 down, and the crowd decided, we got to win this for them. And it is an electric atmosphere and one of the great environments I've ever been a part of. I was there calling it, and it was emotional. You could feel the sound. You could feel it, and the crowd willed that team to win.
You said Holly Rowe cried.
She felt the emotion of the moment. Shall we just say that? Yeah, she felt the emotion of the moment because it was just an amazing moment, and it was an amazing moment for women's athletics. And it's one of the reasons why I love women's volleyball: the athleticism, the drama on each point, and that had it all that night. And regardless of that match, I'd still put that venue. The Devaney Center's great, but that old barn is as difficult place to play, and it's a great atmosphere as Cameron and Fog.
Wow.
Yep. I'm right.
You're right. Well, nobody's texting in and debating you on that, so I guess everybody agrees. But no, so again, you can give us a call, give us a text, 402-413-2400 on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Let's take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little Major League Baseball draft. It's been 3 or 4 days since we were able to really dive into that, but got some good insight from the Braves, what they're hoping to do with Spencer Schwellenbach and all that good stuff. Talk a little bit more, diving into the Major League Baseball draft that took place earlier this week. So a quick break for us here on Sports Nightly, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard, and thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Husker fans, looking for a seat in Memorial Stadium? Custom 3-game mini plans are available now for only $195. Choose any combination of the 6 games available. Matchups available in the 3-game plan include the home opener versus Fordham, Buffalo, Northwestern, Michigan, Purdue, and Iowa. Don't miss this opportunity to join the greatest bands in college sports and help fill Memorial Stadium. To build your mini plan, visit huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED.
Did you ever buy something and get more? More than you expected? Emeritus offers insurance, employee benefits, and financial services, but we deliver so much more. The comfort of a human voice when you need it, the confidence of flashing a beautiful smile, the relief that your family can keep living the life they love, the serenity of knowing you've planned well and can enjoy life. That's what we really deliver. We call it fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services, and much more.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. We just had a caller during the break. Didn't want to come on the air, but agreed with you. So one person agrees with you,
Told
Bill.
you. I'm right. Well, I put it out there. Every member of the match club would say that he's right. So.
Well, good stuff. Fun conversation. We got to go back and talk a little Major League Baseball draft. Seems like that was a while ago that we were talking about that. But big week for Nebraska baseball with a couple guys going in the top 100.
Yep, especially with some recruits in town, and they've got guys going in the top 100.
Yes.
It's like, oh, excuse me, we got to congratulate our players going in the second and the third round, and Cade Povich also.
Literally had a recruit on campus the day that Spencer and Cade heard their names called. That never hurts a recruiting pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Spencer Schwellenbach goes to the Braves in the second round, and good friend of mine from way back. Well, yeah, and you kind of worked a little bit with some people that she knows as well. You guys
it's
are
that second degree of separation type thing.
yeah,
you know?
like broadcasting world, small world. But
yeah, you mentioned the name, and it was like we were friends. We were friends immediately. So
Kelly Kroll, though, it works with the Braves. He just started, I think it was last year, is their sideline reporter, but is internal and talks with all the internal folks there, and got a chance to kind of get some insight on Spencer Schwellenbach, the draft, what they kind of felt about what his future might be with the big league team. So we got a chance to chat with her earlier in the week, but again, we had a little bit of breaking news. But we did want to bring you that conversation right now because I feel like fans would probably want to hear what Spencer's future looks like. So here is Kelly Kroll with the Braves. Some of the Braves execs, and they seem pretty excited about Spencer Schwellenbach.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, Dana Brown, who's been doing this for a while, and he's the Braves VP of scouting, just glowing review of Spencer. And I think, he was surprised, I think, to be able to get him where they did, because I know that they thought, he could go in the first round. So the fact that they were able to get him when they did, I know made him extremely happy. And he said something to the fact that he always loves taking shortstops that pitch. He feels like they're incredibly athletic naturally. And they feel like he's going to be a starter for them. That was a direct quote. And he even went as far as to say, this might be one of my favorite picks that I've ever had in my career. And
wow.
I wish I knew how many years Dana's been doing this, but I can tell you he's been doing it a really long time for a lot of organizations that have been extremely successful. So to hear that from him, I think speaks volumes. And he let them know, or let Spencer know, we're drafting you as a pitcher. We understand, you're athletic enough to play short, but in that sense, they have a kid that would probably block him, but you never really block a pitcher because you need as many arms as you can get, and that's how the Braves have long drafted that way, is you never have enough arms, and I think it speaks to the fact that they drafted 10 of them this year. So, very, very high praise for Spencer, and they're looking forward to seeing how quickly he can kind of rise through the ranks there within the organization.
You mentioned that Dana Brown has been at this for a long time, and so as I've kind of looked at this and read scouting reports, my question has been, in terms of the Braves thinking, was this an old-school baseball pick where they just wanted a great baseball player, and did that win out over the analytics guys in this era of baseball that we're in right now, or does Spencer Schwellenbach fit into that mold too, that he's kind of new school and old school?
I think both. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dana's a real big proponent of the phrase. I know all of us have heard it a million times. We're taking the best guy at that point in the draft, and they felt like at 59, like I said, they really thought Spencer would go in the first round, and they considered taking him first round. I know that as well, and so the fact that he was still there for them, they were pumped about it, and I think it fit both of what you were saying. I think the old school of the best player, but also here's a guy that fits the new mold of being a pitcher, but also a position player who they feel like that with them getting their, kind of nails into it. And I know they really like doing this. And one of the things I was going to kind of segue into is, the Braves have had guys in the last couple of years, Ian Anderson being one that kind of burst onto the scene last year at 23, but they have a Tucker Davidson kid at 25 who this year has been brought up. And Kyle Muller is a guy that I don't know that Nebraska fans have probably heard much about him, but they've just brought him up, and he is 23. And they see Spencer looking from a physicality standpoint a lot like this guy. He's a little bit shorter, but they love big athletic pitchers, and the sort of the journey for all of those three that I just mentioned has been like advanced rookie level and then high A ball. And that's in Rome, which is Rome, Georgia, which isn't far at all from Atlanta. And most of these guys, they like to groom them as long as they can, but they're not afraid in this organization when they feel like these guys have the stuff to bring them up and give them a shot and just see how that stuff translates. And I think that's the game of baseball in general right now. I think we've seen it a lot across MLB. Maybe some of these younger pitchers who are still trying to figure it out at the big league level, and that's maybe why we're seeing not the best control we've seen in the past and guys who struggle a bit to get it across the plate, but they don't know how quickly these young guys can put it together, because every once in a while, and I know for the Braves, it was Ian Anderson last year pulling him up in the shortened season at 23, and the kid was their Game 6 starter in the NLCS because he figured it out that fast. So, I mean, it could be very quickly that Nebraska fans are seeing Spencer, on the big league level.
Overall, how did the Braves feel like they did in the draft, including Spencer, but all the other picks as well?
Yeah, they're really, really happy with it. They focused, certainly they prioritized pitching. They college pitchers with the first three picks, Spencer being one of them, of course, but, they really went that direction. I think that they certainly spend time at the high school level, but they like when they can get their hands on college guys who just have a little bit more experience in every aspect. You guys know, and through all the athletes you've spoken to, just the difference, too, of that experience when you've gone to college and you've had to work through some of the highs and lows at different levels. I think they like getting guys like that. And so they're very happy with this draft, and especially with all that's changed. That's the other thing I was thinking about as we were talking about Spencer and these draft picks. The minor leagues having changed really sort of changes the dynamic as well, because there are levels that no longer exist anymore, which I kind of hate for baseball. But it also means the talented kids like Spencer are going to be able to, I think, move up quicker if it's meant to be, sort of thing, right? If they can put it together, because there are fewer minor league teams, and I that disappoints me for baseball, but I also see some of the pros as well, and I just think that's an interesting dynamic with these guys getting drafted now. Fewer being drafted, but the ones that are, that's how much faith these organizations have in them being guys that could break through.
The Atlanta Braves for so long had so much success, the 80s, the 90s, and a little into this century, and then they had periods of no success whatsoever. It does seem as though things are starting to turn around. 3 straight NL East titles. The brakes have been put on with the Acuna injury a couple of weeks ago. But what kind of culture of an organization is Spencer Schwellenbach joining right now?
Well, probably one that's really similar to the college he came from, in the sense of, I know you were talking about the 80s and the 90s, but for the last 3 years, winning division titles, this is an organization that is a young kid, I'm going to use that as a young kid coming into it, they expect to win. This isn't an organization that's talking about like, oh, our window is on the way or it's on the horizon. Their window's here now. And so I think these young guys, especially the pitchers, when you look at, I know they talk about Spencer being a starter, but I'll tell you what, if you get to a playoff scenario where you have a live arm and you know you need it and you can use it in the bullpen, they won't hesitate. That's one thing the Braves are not afraid to do is to bring these guys up and give them a chance, like I said before. And I think the culture is that, you win here and you do what it takes, and you have a bunch of, I would say they've done a really good job too in the last couple of years of putting some veteran pitchers with experience around some of these really young, talented pitchers. And I just, this year, for instance, the guy I have really enjoyed watching is a Charlie Morton, who the guys like the Spencers. And I mean, I mentioned Ian Andersons and Tucker Davidsons, and they cling to him and listen. I'm watching him in the dugout, just taking every word and hanging on not only his experience and the stories he has, but watching how they work, right? I think that's probably the first step for every young pitcher, is figuring out what the day-to-day lifestyle and routine is supposed to be, because you're kind of, I've heard guys say it before, you're just kind of lost. There's no more going to class. There's no more, once you go to class, you go to lunch, and then you go to practice, and then you lift weights. Like, you're an adult that's thrown into learning how to be ready and be at your best every night at whatever it may be, 7 o'clock, 6:30, be ready to start, be ready to come in, whatever your role is that night. And I know that can sometimes be the hardest part, but the Braves have a lot of really good pitchers and pitching depth within the organization. So I think he's stepping into really an incredible situation for what he presents himself.
Speaking with Kelly Kroll, who covers the Braves for Bally Sports. Kelly, for Husker fans that want to maybe pay attention to what might be next for Spencer, you mentioned some of the, the minor league systems that he could go to, but what would you maybe expect could potentially be the next steps for him, where he could go? I know they eventually, expect him to be a starter, but right now this summer, what do you expect maybe where they might put him right now?
Yeah, low A and high A ball is probably like where you'll kind of see him, but oftentimes with guys who are picked as high as Spencer, and that's why I kind of mentioned some of the others with Anderson and Davidson and Mueller, sort of all in that same range in a way. They were quickly moved to high A ball, which is in Rome, Georgia, and so I think that's where Husker fans might be able to see him sooner rather than later. And then the Mississippi Braves is their AA organization, with Gwinnett being right up the road from Atlanta. And I've seen guys kind of as you guys have as well, when they feel like they're ready. I mean, they're not afraid to bring these guys up from AA ball. He might get some time in AAA as things go along, but I think Rome is likely where you would see him, and that's not something Dana was really asked about or not. I think they just like to get these kids in with the advanced rookie level and kind of let them feel their way around, and then sort of from there we're gonna have a much better idea next year, sort of where Spencer's trajectory is. So that's kind of the best guess for me right now, guys.
Hey, no, we appreciate it. And Kelly, also fresh off a pretty nice run with the Atlanta Hawks as well. Is that something that we can expect to continue to see from the Atlanta Hawks, or is that a one-year thing?
No, I think that this club has got a really good thing going. And now I think expectations have certainly been raised for a team that is young and led by one of, I think, probably the league's most exciting superstars in Trae Young. And then their biggest offseason, they signed their coach, Nate McMillan, who was an interim coach for pretty much over half that season, took them deep into that run. They signed him, so that was the first thing they needed to do. And then now it's just going to be whether or not they re-sign John Collins. But everybody else, they'll, for the most part, have back. They'll need to find a backup point guard if Lou Williams decides to hang it up for good. But he was an Atlanta kid who came back, and if that was his last hurrah, I mean, he will forever be remembered as a favorite there. And no, I really think this is the beginning of a lot of good things to come for the Atlanta Hawks. So I think that basketball team is going to be pretty darn fun to watch moving forward.
Kelly, we appreciate your time. Good stuff, and always good to chat with you.
Yeah, thanks to Kelly. That's some high praise coming for Spencer Schwellenbach.
When you ask your friends to go to work, they go to work. She brought the whole book of scouting on the map and the plan for Spencer Schwellenbach. That was Mark even texted in and said Kelly used to do Cubs games and she is excellent. And I think we would all agree after that scouting report. But that was the highest praise or best report or scouting report on Spencer that I'd read or heard.
Yeah, the fact that their VP of scouting said that one of his favorite picks of his entire career was Spencer Schwellenbach, and that they were hoping to get him in the first round, and then when he is available in the second, just absolutely thrilled and expect him to be on a starter and with the big leagues.
It's nice to see guys who go to college and work their way and improve their game and help Dearl, Nebraska U or wherever they go, and that Major League baseball is still willing to invest in those guys and not put all that time in hoping that a high school prospect will pan out. But go with a proven college guy, give him a chance. And, we saw, what was it, just a couple of years ago when the Cubs won it, that Jake Arrieta was pitching for TCU in June and for the Cubs in October. Mm-hmm. It's rare, but it's possible if somebody can develop. I'm not saying Spencer's going to do that for the Braves, but it looks like he's going to get an opportunity soon.
Well, and, it's also it bodes well for a program when you have guys getting drafted like Spencer did and Cade Povich, as we talked about, for recruiting. And Spencer, when we had him on the show last week, he talked about how his time here at Nebraska prepared him for this moment. Right. And he gave a lot of props and a lot of praise to Will Bolt and company and getting him prepared to be able to take this step.
And as we've heard, a lot of times when guys go from high school or college, they're on their own. And you get a college guy, even though 20 and 18 may not sound a lot different. 21 and 18 may not. It is a big difference. And so when a guy like Spencer is going to be signing a check or a contract at some point and getting some checks, how do you handle yourself? How well are you prepared to handle that money? How have you been grounded in college to handle your business off the field? And how are you going to handle it when you're on the field? I worked in the NBA a couple of years, and there were so many times when I would see those high school draft picks after practice, one-on-one with an assistant coach who, was their job basically to give tutorials night after night to these 18 and 19-year-old guys to help them develop moves. That's on the court. That's supposed to be their job. What are they doing when they get away from the game? At least with the guy that spent some time in college, you're ahead of the game in that regard.
Spencer also talked about the culture and really praised Will Bolt, when I asked him about the contract extension. And Spencer wasn't the only guy that had high praise for Will Bolt, Coach Bolt, this week. When we sat down to do the interview with Trev Alberts, he was really complimentary of Coach Bolt and the culture and the way that they played. I think he said gritty, and really appreciated the gritty way that they played.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that he had done his homework. As he had said, I've been looking at the staff and Bill Moose's hires and whatnot, and yeah, he was pretty quick to I think point out and identify that Will Bolt's team identifies with Nebraska. As Trev said in his press conference, Nebraska people do the right thing at the right time, all the time, the right way. And I think that he probably recognizes that in Will Bolt's team. Will's from Conroe, Texas. Baseball is pretty serious down there. But he came up here, was a part of Dave Van Horn's team, understood what it meant to be a Husker, playing at Buck Belcher Field and all the, spring football divots. But they won. They had the culture. They got it. They knew what they were representing, And I think Trev recognizes that Will Bolt is a Texan who's a Nebraskan now.
Weren't you telling a story about when they were practicing on the baseball field and there was a super regional or regional and they wanted to play on that field? What was that story?
Well, I think it was the numbers we're talking about that, reminiscing about the time Nebraska played in that super regional. I think it was against Rice, 2001, when Dave took him to the College World Series the first time. And Buck Belcher Field is where, the football complex is right now. And anybody from Lincoln or was a Husker baseball fan back then was like, that's not even a good Legion field, really. And they had the big dirt pile because they were moving land, big dirt pile in center field. And they thought, well, we could go play that game in a nicer facility. And Dave Van Horn's like, no way. We know exactly where all the football divots are. Nobody else does. That is our field, and it's going to be a home field advantage. Now, whether the field conditions help them win that super regional, that might be an urban legend for another day. That was a great baseball team, great chemistry, played hard, got to Omaha. But, yeah, that was a home field advantage in more ways than one, for sure.
Well, big week again for Nebraska baseball as guys hearing their names called, including a couple in the top 100 and more to come. There's no doubt about it. Like, this is only the beginning of, I mean, I know plenty of guys have been drafted in the past, but I think in the Will Bolt era, there's going to be lots and lots of guys hear their name called pretty high.
Well, yeah, and I'm thinking about the volleyball scrimmage we've been talking about coming up in August. The 5,500 tickets sold. That was yesterday. It may be sold out right now. I didn't get an update.
You better not be making promises you can't keep, Bill.
Kind of believe that it's probably going to be sold out. But I'm thinking, what's fall baseball going to be like over there? I mean, people are probably going to, think, well, let's go watch a couple inter-squad scrimmages if they'll let us, and the Red-White Fall Classic World Series if they still do that. People are going to want to go over to Buck Belt or the Haymarket Park and watch.
Hashtag Bolt era.
Yep.
You're figuring out Twitter this week over the last couple of weeks.
I think I've tweeted more times quicker than I ever had before. That's one of the big jokes when I get to Stanford at NBC. It's like, if anybody can't tweet, it's Bill, because he takes too long.
Well, hashtag Bolt era, in case you missed that. All right,
I got that hashtag Huskers thing down. I'm pretty good on that one.
Okay, you got that one down. Okay, good.
Thanks.
All right, time for another quick break for us. But when we come back, we're going to talk our top 5 storylines of the week. This is Sports Nightly, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef, raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Look away! A runaway train of IT problems is bearing down on our brave IT hero. But wait! It's Marco's Technology Assessment to the rescue with life-saving IT strategies. Our hero's technology issues are derailed. A tip of the hat to Marco. And our hero rides into the virtual sunset of our WebEx background. For more successful IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. A new grant from the U.S. Department of Agriculture is supporting Husker research in the study of multi-robot systems in ag settings. The almost $500,000 grant was awarded through the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture to Professor Santosh Pitla. Pitla and his team will use the funds to further their research in the use of unmanned ground vehicles and drones on the farm.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody, and our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline is popping. We got Scott on the line. Scott, appreciate the call. How you doing this Friday evening?
I'm doing actually pretty wonderful, thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the call.
Okay, I just wanted to say that Bill was right about the Coliseum. Because
Okay.
I'm serious. I've been in the Kingdome as a Raider fan.
Wow.
I've been in Yankee Stadium as a Yankee fan with the Red Sox team in town. I've also been in Fenway as a Yankee fan, and I've been in St. Louis as a Red Wings fan. And I've been in Coliseum maybe 20 times, and that crowd was sitting right on top of everybody, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he's right. I mean, people don't believe it, but that is, Scott, that's a crowd that really believes that it's a part of it. They're not there to watch. They're okay. When do you need us? Let us know when. And if you don't let us know, we'll just work our way in, like they did in that regional final in '96.
I don't think they believe it. I think they know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I'm wrong with it, if anybody can dispute that, then go for it. But I think Devaney. I don't know if you guys have been to Devaney yet. Man, that is an awesome venue.
Yeah, it's great. It looks great on TV. That's all I've seen of it. And I know it can get loud there at Devaney too. But there's just something about that old barn, the NU Coliseum.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yep. And I was lucky enough to sit right behind the serving line, and so you're about 15 feet above the server.
Yep.
And it was almost like you'd reach out and touch their hair when they come back to serve. It's just that place was amazing. So,
yeah, great.
Sorry to take your time, but man,
I appreciate the call.
Yep, I appreciate your guys' show. I think we've got some of the best sports radio shows in the country.
Well, thanks, Scott.
So,
thanks for calling in.
Thank you, Scott.
You bet. You folks have a wonderful night.
You too. Call back anytime,
All right.
Scott.
All right. Bye-bye.
And Carla also has a text. She has a question. Good evening, Bill. Did you select the Olympic sports you will call, or are they assigned?
They're assigned, but because I'm kind of a utility guy, I think I've called about 15 sports or so for NBC, and it's kind of like, let's have Bill do that because he'll do that one. It's like the old Life cereal commercials in the 80s. Give it to Mikey. Mikey will try anything. But I really was hoping I'd get the archery assignment again this year because I really enjoyed it in 2016. It's fast-paced, it's fun, it's tense, there's pressure, and it's simple. 10, 9, 10, 9. But it's hard, too. I mean, I have such an appreciation for the Olympic sports, and I grew that appreciation at Nebraska. And we were talking about what the sports are like, the kids wrestling for the remote or running through an airport or whatnot. When you're watching the archery, and you will because they will be on, if it's a good hole filler, you think of it this way. People are holding a 50-pound bucket of water on their back elbow and a 10-pound weight on their front elbow trying to hit a quarter from 80 yards away. And it really is amazing, the skill set to do that. And I have great appreciation for all of the sports. But I did kind of say I'd really like to do archery again this year, and they let me do that.
Which sports will you be on this time around?
Archery for the first week, and we do fill in a lot of holes when they have open spots in the programming. And then the second week won't be quite as intense with modern pentathlon, men's and women's, and also race walking, people trying to catch their flight.
I will be tuned in for that. Carla, another nice text. Another entertaining week of broadcasts. You both do an excellent job. Thanks, Bill, for spending a couple of weeks reminding us of all of the great athletes and sports moments involving Nebraska. Thanks, Carla.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. Appreciate it.
And seriously, because, I mean, obviously I'm learning how all this is. So you've educated me a lot in this deal, too.
Well, there have been so many great moments. And it's not just football. And I've been around for some good football moments. But, as a fan, growing up, and being so fortunate to come from Fairbury, the greater Fairbury metropolitan area, I might add, to where you couldn't go to games, to spending time sitting next to Tom Osborne, doing the Tom Osborne show, being in the locker room after national championships. But as I said, I think on our first night, one of my greatest memories is Jason Kelber winning the 126-pound wrestling championship at Carve Rock Arena in 1991, or that volleyball regional, and watching the growth of the volleyball program from the late 80s to where it is today, when they were putting folding chairs out there at the Coliseum, hoping people would come in, and putting the sandwich board out there after football games like, hey, while you're on your way home, why don't you come in and watch volleyball for a while? Well, that worked pretty well, and great athletes like Karen Jennings we've talked about. And I mean, it's been a great time to come back and reminisce.
And we appreciate you guys getting involved with the show on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Final break here of hour number 2. We've got one final segment to do with Bill before he'll head off to call the Olympics. So keep it here as we wrap up Sports Nightly next.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates apply and may vary by carrier.
Experience the highest levels of luxury at Woodhouse Lincoln, the Metro's exclusive Lincoln dealer. Our dedicated sales team is ready to guide you to your perfect vehicle. With a lineup of unique crossovers and SUVs, Lincoln offers insightful technologies, connectivity, and interior amenities, while you experience the highest sales satisfaction among all luxury brands. Visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly. Final segment of the week. Final segment with our good friend Bill Dolman. We've had a great couple of weeks.
It has been wonderful. It's
been a lot of fun. Again, we've talked about, I really hadn't done much radio. I did a couple of shows with Greg, and then Greg was on vacation. So you've been super patient and helpful with me. So I thank you for getting me acclimated to this radio deal.
You're going to be a star in all aspects. I told you that when you took the job. I called Jess because we did some work at Oklahoma. She's there full time, and I was just kind of coming in and out doing games. But when they said we're going to try and get Jessica Coody here, I thought, well, that was a home run, and I was so glad that you took the gig. For me this week has been an opportunity to come home, more importantly, to feel at home, and that's been great. And I know you took a job, but over time you're going to feel that too, that you took on more than just a job being at Nebraska.
I already do, and this is a big part of what I'm going to do, of course, being on Sports Nightly every night. But as you know, I'm doing features and whatnot. I'm really excited to tell the stories of the athletes. I get invested when, I do that. So I'm really excited. I got a couple lined up. So, everybody's been so welcoming as we've seen so many nice texts coming in. So, and Andy in Phoenix, he's watching on our YouTube stream. If you're listening on the radio or wherever you might be listening on the app, you can also watch us on our YouTube stream. Shout out to Mike Elliott who got that going. So we got people that come in or call in, and we got all the fancy bells and whistles up here.
Nebraska fans are everywhere.
Yeah.
You don't know that.
So, but fun couple of weeks. Of course, this last week has been crazy, but highlights for you over the last couple of weeks.
We're going to do a Friday 5 and come up with the big story of the week. I think there was one on Wednesday.
When we were going to do the Friday 5, but then we had a couple of texts and calls that I thought we'd hear from fans.
Yeah.
So
Rod reminds us on the text line that you could go to a volleyball match if you had a football ticket stub.
Not anymore.
Terry Pettit was so smart in building this program with young women in the area and the neighboring states who are great athletes and giving them a chance and developing them, but then also figuring out a way, how are we going to get people to come in and appreciate this great sport?
Now it needs to be a volleyball ticket gets you into other sports, you know?
Yeah.
Like you need to utilize volleyball and getting, the other crowds built up. Well, I mean, they're already, solid, but if you can utilize that. Huge news. Of course, Trev Alberts, you're a big fan of that hire.
I am, because it felt like, again, coming home. And there's Trev Alberts coming home to Nebraska. He's an Iowa guy, but he's a Husker. He's going to be great in that job. And as I said yesterday, we all know what, challenges he had at UNO. And we all know that he took all those challenges head on, and some were controversial. He won't back away. And I'm guessing at some point when he sits in this chair, he'll address everything that he did there and what he plans to do here. And everybody needs to get behind him and support him and be thankful that somebody who gets us is leading us and is going to want people to come alongside him.
Yeah, and I just was so impressed, and I've said this a few times, with just the way that it's not about him, and he wants to make it about the team, and he gets the student athletes, which is the most important thing in all of this. He said that several times. We don't have jobs if not for the student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And while it was different when he was a student athlete here, he still knows what it's like to be a student athlete here. We heard Rick Allen talking about that too, about the way that Nebraska sets up their student athletes, and I've seen it, just in the 5-6 short weeks that I've been here, the life skills program and the the academics and just the way that it's not just about playing your sport. It's how are we setting you up for life afterwards, and Trev is big on that, and that's going to be one of the most important things for him, is making sure that these student athletes are set up for success in all areas, not just on the playing field.
And there are great people on board who have been on board for a long time. Dennis LeBlanc, Keith Zimmer, Dave Ellis, the best at what they do. They've been leaders. The Husker Vision is still at the forefront with Kirk Hartman in charge. The strength and conditioning, Zach Duvall is a Nebraska guy, and I think he's done very good things, So
did you see the running backs in that video?
I thought those were defensive linemen or outside linebackers or something. So that looks like a Big Ten football team. So good on you, Zach. You did your job in the offseason well, your team. But so many good people are on board who were on board in the past, who are ready to go into the future. They're not holding on to that. They know what it took to be successful, and they're ready to go forward with Trev and with everybody else. And Trev's going to let them do their jobs. And they were the best then, and they're the best now,
Okay, so which games are you going to be coming back for in the
Whichever
fall?
ones you give me tickets to.
All right. You didn't get your 3-game mini plans, which are still on sale, I think, limited
Well, I know I probably
quantity.
can't get a volleyball scrimmage ticket, but, I'm going to try and sneak in. And maybe John Cook will let me do a volleyball match on TV so I can actually get into the building. Otherwise, that might be the only way.
Yeah, I mean, you heard him, so give him a call. Maybe he'll let you in.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're leaving tomorrow, and then you start calling all your gigs on next week?
Yeah, July 23rd. Archery's like almost right out of the gate.
And how long is archery? How long is that?
Goes a full 7, 8, 9 days, yeah. And archery is actually one of the most watched sports in the Olympics because it goes quick. The matches are 6 to 8 minutes, 10 minutes or so, and they can fill that hole between when Katie Ledecky gets done with her warm-up and before Simone Biles gets ready for hers. Let's throw in some archery. So that's what we do.
Husker fans listening now, make sure you're listening to Bill on archery, race walking, and the
modern pentathlon, and maybe curling in the winter. We could do another stint of curling. That would be fun, or biathlon. So.
Bill, thank you so much. Final thoughts in our last few seconds.
It's so nice to be home. And I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad that there are so many people from back in the day who are still around, ready to go forward with Nebraska athletics. And thanks to Mike, and thanks to Andrew.
Yep, Andrew and Mike, appreciate you guys as always. Bill, thank you so much. You're the best. And we'll be back for another full week of Sports Nightly on Monday when Greg Sharpe will be back after a couple weeks of vacation. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks, Bill. And this is Sports Nightly, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation.